As a lighting designer, we often have to redesign an existing space. It is important to have a good set of field measurement for the foundation of a future design work. In this session, we are going to demonstrate how to take field measurements. Here, I have a drafting pad, 4-color of a pen for different information. I have a tape measure, a laser, and my cell phone for taking photos of existing conditions. I happen to also have existing architectural plan. This will help me to save a lot of time in drawing the configuration of the room. First, we are going to observe the architectural conditions of this room. Here, we see a rectangular room with soffit on one side. There's a grate ceiling and window on the side. There's 3 different ceiling height I'm seeing. So I'm going to measure each of the ceiling height. To measure the main ceiling, I'm going to use tape measure. So this is how I normally do that. It's not very easy since this wall is not very straight. What I'm going to do is run the tape measure all the way to the ceiling as straight as possible, and then read the numbers on the tape measure. It shows me about 103 inches, which is 8 feet 7 inches. Since I have a laser, I'm going to confirm my measurement with laser. This is a small laser purchased from Amazon. It's only $30. So if I put a laser on the floor and make sure it's reaching to the ceiling I wanted to measure and press the button, it tells me 8 feet 6 inches and 23/32. So it's almost 8 foot 7 inches. It's pretty close to my tape measurement. I'm going to now take another measurement of the higher ceiling adjacent to the window. Again, put the laser on the floor. See where the laser is pointing to the higher ceiling. And do it again. The second set of measurement is 11 feet 1 inch and 15/16. So it's almost 11 feet and 2 inches. What I'm going to do is to determine a color that's only for the ceiling height. Here, I'm going to put red. So the first one is 8 foot 7 inches. The second one, 11 foot 2 inches. Now, we have a third ceiling soffit. It's a little lower. I'm going to repeat the same process again. This tells me the soffit is 7 feet. I'm going to use a different color of a pen to record the architectural line. Here, I'm going to pick blue. So the blue shows the soffit. I will go back to measure the soffit width. Again, for anything that is over the head, what I'm going to try to do is run the tape measure and bend it so I can get as accurate information as possible. Here it tells me it's about 42 inches, which is 3 feet and 6 inches. I'm going to use the green pen for dimension. Now, I want to take measurement of the main ceiling. As you can see, the main ceiling is an industrial grid. It uses a modular system. From my experience, I know it uses 2x4 ceiling tile. So instead of measuring the whole ceiling, what I would like to do is to count the ceiling tile. This gives me very clear information about the existing ceiling. So what I see is one 2x4 with one narrow 4-inch strip and two 2x4, another one, and then two 2x4, another one. So I'm just going to quickly draw that on my drawing. So 2x4, 4 inches, two 2x4, and 4 inches. Again, two 2x4, 4 inches, another 2 rows of 2x4, and 4 inches. So I'm marking that on the drawing in order for me to record the existing ceiling condition. So altogether, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times 2x4, which is 2 feet wide. So that's already 16 feet. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of a 4-inch strip gives me 16 inches. And there's a leftover piece at the very end of the classroom. For this purpose, I'm not going to measure that leftover piece, but it gives me the overall conditions, how the room is configured. One thing I would like to do is use laser to confirm the room overall dimension. So again, I'm going to put the laser on the wall, pointing to the front of the room. Make sure the laser is on the surface I want to measure, and this gives me 22 feet and 1 inches as the overall room length. This is the drawing I just did based on the dimensions we measured earlier. I purposely used different colors to notate different informations. For example, the red is showing the ceiling height. The green is showing the room overall dimensions. The black line is the construction line showing the ceiling conditions. And the blue shows the notes. There's a soffit, there's a 2x4 ceiling tile, and a 4-inch strip. And then I use a cyan color to show the wall switches. Now, let's take a look at the light source. I see 3 different kinds of light source in this room. There's a diffuse linear light fixture. There's a small spotlight in the ceiling. There's also a track light in the back of the room under the soffit. Now, let's take a look at how these lights are being controlled by the switches. Here, I'm standing next to the switch. I'm going to turn off all the lights so we can turn them on one by one to see which one controls what. The first one, it controls the track light. The second one, it controls the small spots in the ceiling. The third one, it controls the diffuse light source in the ceiling. Take a note at the light color. It appears very cool. I think it's around 6,000 or 6,500 Kelvin. I just turned on the fourth switch and it turned on exactly the same light source as before, except for the color appears to be warmer. I think it's around 3,500 Kelvin or 4,000 Kelvin. The last one. Again, it turns on the linear diffuse light source. However, the color appears even warmer. I think it's around 3,000 K. Now, let me turn back the middle one. You see the light just become a little cooler. And then turn on the next one. The light becomes even cooler. So here we are able to do color temperature mixing through these three switches. Now, let's take a look at the switch again. There's a small slider next to the switch. What this do is to control the intensity of light. If I bring it down, you will see the light. Let's just turn off the other one. You will see the light becomes less intense. This is called dimmer switch. So I can turn it high or turn it low. Now we are going to talk about how to measure light in the space. This is a classroom. So in order to measure the light level, we need to know what is the surface that's critical in a classroom setting. We have computers. Most of the time, people are working on the desk. Therefore, the desk surface is the most important surface. We also saw a whiteboard. There's some artwork being posted on the whiteboard. Therefore, we want to also take a measurement of the vertical surface. Before we start doing that, we want to also make sure that we are really measuring the electrical light source. Look at the window. There's a lot of light coming into the space. So the first thing we want to do is to measure how much daylight is coming in, contributing to the light level in the room. Now, I'm putting my light meter on the desk surface. Give it a moment. So it's showing me 2.1 foot candles on the desk surface. So whatever I measured with the electrical lighting, I want to minus 2 foot candle out of that to get the accurate reading. Now, let's turn on the light source. I just turned on the diffused linear light source. Let's take a look. The light meter reads 1.106 foot candle. So minus the daylight, we have about 104 foot candle on this desk surface. Let's take a look at how different color temperature contribute to this light level. Now, I only have the coolest light turned on, and it's showing me 32.7 foot candle on the desk surface. And if I change to a warmer light source, the warmer light source is actually contributing about 41 foot candle to the dead surface, minus 2 foot candle. So apparently this warmer light source is more powerful than the colder light source. Now let's take a look at the wall. I'm going to choose a spot between two light sources, so I'm not getting extra light from being too close to one fixture. So I'm just going to take an average. And normally what I like to do is use the eye level as a gauge about 5 foot from the floor. And putting that vertically, I'm getting about 22 foot candle on this wall. It is a fairly good ambient light source.